Okay, so this is a video outlining the creation of the crate for the crate and barrels assignment. So we're just going to jump right in. First things first, because this is a new project, we want to create a new folder to store our project saves in. So we go to File, Project Window, New, and then we can name our project. So let's call it Cube. And obviously the location, we can change that to wherever we want to send our files. Mine's in the right position, so I'm just going to click accept. Now, just to be on the safe side, what I'm going to do is actually go in to File again, then down to Set Project, and then I'm going to find that project and I'm going to set it so I know definitely that anything I'm going to save gets saved to that position. Okay, so the crate is a really simple asset to make. Obviously, in the first throes of starting 3D modeling, you're going to feel very overwhelmed by the whole creation, but hopefully this will just alleviate some fears and just help you understand the creation a little bit more. So I'll be taking things a little bit slower than I have been in class, and I'll be explaining stuff a little bit more. So first things first is our crate is a cube. So using our quick menu up here, we want to click our cube, and then we want to hold shift and then drag to create a cube. Remember that holding shift helps us to create a perfect shape of whatever we choose. So let's choose a cylinder, let's choose a cone. Holding shift gives us a perfect creation. If we didn't hold shift, we can make stuff like this, which is still very useful, but in this case we want a perfect cube, so we hold shift and drag. Okay, you notice there that my camera snapped to the cube like that. This is because I'm pressing F, and F helps us focus on whatever object we've got selected. So you can tell I've got the object selected because it's green. These lines are green. Okay, so first things first is I want to delete these other edges and this bottom face. So I'm going to hold down right click and then just move the mouse down to face, and then you can tell that it's choosing faces because we'll grab each one of these faces. So we want to keep this top face, so I'm just going to drag a selection box over these, and now these are orange, indicating that they've been selected, and this top is grey, indicating that it's not been selected. And all I do is hit delete, and then that deletes those faces. You can also go through and delete each one at a time, just to be safe. So now we've got this face up top. So you might have clicked off the face and you've gone back to object mode. So remember that we want to select the face. So we hold down right click, go down to face, let go, and then we can tell we've got you can tell we're grabbing the face because it's red. So if we select the face, and then we want to extrude, and extrusion just means we create a new face within the face that we've been selected. Okay, so we want to click this button, which is extrude. Okay, so then we get this. Some people's might stay grey, some people's might turn black. Don't worry about this. This is purely because we've just created a new face on top of the old face. So if we hit R, which is R for scale, then we'll be given our scale manipulator. Now if we grab this center yellow box and just drag to the left a little bit, you can see that we're scaling in this new face. We have got this shimmering effect. This is because we've got two faces lying on top of each other. So if you just move your mouse around to the edges, you'll see that we get the option to select this bigger polygon, and this is the one we want to get rid of. So if we select that and then hit delete, we should be left with this, which is our new edges and our new face. Okay, so now we want to make our box have some depth, our sides have some depth. So remember, going to select face, select this center face, go to extrude, and this time we want to click W. Remember, W is move or translate. Translate is the Maya terminology for moving. So we know we want to move down because we want to move this whole object down, so we want to move the Y axis, which is the green axis. We want to just grab that and move it down like that. Not far, you don't have to move it all the way down here, just enough to give it a bit of depth. Now, the reason we don't grab this center gimbal, this center option, is because when we do that, it doesn't move how we want it to move. You can see that even though I moved it down then, it's been skewed. That's because it takes the camera as a focal point for its movement. So you're kind of moving the camera to move it. It's a very difficult thing to explain. But we don't want to do that, so we just want to move it in the Y axis. So we grab the Y axis and we just move it down a little bit. Okay? So at this stage we've got our crate most of the way done. Now it's just time to duplicate this shape and make the rest of the faces with it. Okay? So we go to object mode. So we hold down right click, object mode, then click our object. So you can see that it's green, and you'll see that our manipulator is in the center or below our shape. That's because it still thinks that it's in the middle of a cube. So that's why it's down there. So remember, we want to now snap that to one of the corners of this plane, of this shape we've made. So we hold D and V. Remember that D brings up this little shape, and if we grab the center, it allows us to move our manipulator around and position it how we see fit. And remember that V is a snap to vertex. So even if we don't have anything selected, we can actually snap. I mean, there's nothing in the scene for us to snap to, but we can snap an object to, we can snap our manipulator's center to a pivot, to a vertex, sorry. So that might have sounded a bit confusing at first, but the more you use it, the more you'll understand. So we want to snap our manipulator to one of these edges. Okay, so holding D and V. You can tell that we've holding V because the center square has turned to a circle, like that. So with that held down, we'll grab the center and we'll move it to one of the corners. You can see that it's snapping. This is because it's snapping to whatever vertex is closest to our actual cursor, not necessarily the manipulator, the cursor. So let's snap it to this corner here. Okay? So with that in place, I hit Control and D. That duplicates. We've now made a copy of our shape, and I want to move that down to this edge so that I can start to move it 90 degrees and then make the side of the box. Now the reason we moved our manipulator to this corner is because we can use this corner as now an anchor to make sure that we're in line with all the edges. So holding V, only V this time, we don't have to hold D, just holding V, so our manipulator turns to a circle. We want to grab that and we just want to move it to that edge. Okay, so I moved it using grabbing the center, but you can also use it, and it's probably better, more safer, to move it by moving the red or the X axis down and across, making sure that we're actually in line there. You see I've just turned on wireframe on polygon, which is this button here. This just shows us our wireframe, and it's probably better to work with this on most of the time, as you get a better idea about what your surface looks like or where you're trying to snap. Okay, so with this in position now, we want to make sure that we want to turn it into a right angle so that we make our side of the box. So one way of doing this is by rotating around, and you can see that this number here, this rotate Z, that's changing. Now we know we only want to work with 90-degree increments, so 0, 90, 180, 270. So we know that this needs to go 90 degrees, so we input 90, and then it snaps to that way. The other way of doing it is exactly the same way. You just don't do that. Oh, you just don't move it first. So if I knew that it was 90 degrees, I would do that. Okay. So now that's making our right angle of the side of the box. So now we can go around and make the other sides by selecting our object again. And so we've got our manipulator in the top left corner. Now we can actually just keep going to the right, duplicating to the right 90 degrees, duplicating to the right 90 degrees, and we can quickly and effectively make our outer box. So I'll show you what that looks like. So I Control D, hold V to snap to vertex, and just drag that in the Z axis along, and then I will rotate that around. So then that's in position. That's a nice right angle looking from above. Oops, I'll do that. And then I just do it again. Make sure I've got the transform selected, so I press W to get our translate move tool. So I press Control D to duplicate, holding V to snap to vertex, drag that along, rotate that again, so 180 at this point, and then do it again, and round that again, this will be 270. And there you can see that we've got our box sides all done. So now we just need our bottom of the box. So that's very easy again. We do the exact same thing, but instead of moving to the side, we actually have to move down. So with our shape selected, make sure we've got our translate tool selected. We Control D, and then we hold V. And in this case, because we've rotated the object, these aren't necessarily in the correct position, but we know we just need to move down, so we need to grab whatever arrow is facing up. So we know this is going to be the x-axis to slide down. So with that duplicated, we hold V and move that down, and then we rotate round. So I know this is going to be in the y-axis, and it's going to be minus 90 degrees. Minus 90 degrees, Dave. Thank you. And there you go. So at that stage, our box is effectively done. But if we select everything and press 3, you can see that we get this weird sort of shape going on. And this basically just tells me that none of my edges are connected, which is what we don't want. We want all our solid objects to be solid welded objects. So I will select the entire box, and then I'll go up to this button here, which is the combine tool. Hit that, and then our object becomes one object. So if I click it anywhere, it's going to select the entire thing. But we're still not a solid object yet. We've still got these holes at either side. So holding right click, go into vertex, I will drag a selection box, and then all my points should be yellow. That means all these vertex are selected, and I'll go to this button here. This is our weld tool, or our merge tool, and that's merged. So now when we select it and we select 3, we press 3 to smooth it, you can see that all these points are now connected. So there's no holes in our object. And then that gives us a very basic crate, which can be used for anything. You can use this inside a simple platformer, inside a FPS, inside an RPG, inside a racing game. These are all used everywhere, and a lot of the complexity would be on how you texture this. There are ways of adding panels, which I'll do in another video, like panels across here. Like I said, I'll do that in another video. But right now, that's our object. That's our crate. And the only thing left for us to do in this stage is to save it. Okay? So we go to File and Save As. And this is why we set up the folder at the beginning. It takes us directly to the scene folder inside our cube folder stack, which is then placed inside where we want it to place in the first place. So I will call this cube. Oh, I've saved it. Okay, but it's called cube. So with that, we've got our cube made. I'm going to leave off doing the version which is the empty box without a lid, because I think you can gather the information that you need to do that from this video. It's fairly straightforward. You've just kind of got to think, how would you make a hole in this box? You don't have to use any other tools that you've not used already, besides the bridge tool. So I will show you that one tool. So if I wanted, so this is an empty void now, and I want to seal this. What I need to do is make sure I hold down right click and go to edge, release that, and so you know we've got the edge selected, because we're getting these red bars on the edge that we're hovering over. So I want to select an edge, can be anyone, so that one, and then when we bridge, we're basically creating a polygon from one edge to another, and the only way this can work is if you have a four-sided shape and you select the adjacent opposite, not adjacent at all, the opposite edge. So I won't be able to bridge from this edge to this edge. I can only bridge from this edge to this edge, or from this edge to this edge. Cool. So with those two selected, remember I'm clicking the edge, and then I'm holding Shift to do the multiple selection, which is present in anything. Selecting that edge, and then we're going to go up to this tool here, next to extrusion. This tool is called our bridge tool, and when we click our bridge tool, this happens. Now by default, Maya creates 5 divisions, which we don't want at this stage. We only want one division because we only want a flat polygon. So you get this box cropping up, and you get this divisions, 5, taper twist, bridge offset, all that. If you just hover over, if you click division, you get this sort of two-way arrow thing. If you drag it right, you create more divisions, and if you grab it left, you make less. So we want to take it all the way to the left until that number is 0, and as you can see, we've just got one flat polygon. So that's how to bridge an edge, bridge between two edges. Now, using that information, including the information that we gathered doing the other part of this box, which is creating the entire box as a whole, you need to create a box with a void inside, so that we could place something in within a game engine. Okay, cool, thank you.